What's up, Marvel Rival players? So let's hop right into it. The best tier list for the brand new update with, of course, Jeff the Land Shark and Thor. So what are the best characters that you want to play, and what are some of the ones that you may want to stay away from? So for starters, I think it's important to kind of explain, my thought process and my rank, because people at different ranks think different things about the game, and that's totally cool. So as far as it goes in terms of my rank, for this season, we actually placed top 200, and then in the previous alpha, for teams, we placed top 100. But basically, at the higher areas of the game, there are certain characters that are so much more difficult to play, and you get way more value out of other characters. So for starters, I want to go ahead and start from the bottom to the top, and let's get started with what I consider a throw pick. So this is the F tier. You never want to play these. And the answer is actually none. I think that they did a pretty good job going from the alpha to the beta. As far as the characters go, there's not a character where if someone picks, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's an absolute thrill. There are some more niche and better options for characters, but there's no character that is an absolute, if you pick it, you automatically lose. But moving into the better options tier, aka the D tier, there are two heroes right here that I think there are just better options. There's no area where I'm like, oh man, I really wish we had a Storm. Storm can help your teammates boost up their damage. She's got a pretty good ultimate, but there's never a situation where like I look at Storm like, oh wow, I'm so glad we have a Storm. It's usually like, maybe you need to swap off, because the character is just simply too easy to hit if they are in the air, which is kind of where the character would excel, where you wouldn't be able to hit them. But the main problem with the character is it simply doesn't have mobility, and once you are in the higher ranks of the game, Punisher is a very, very common character, as well as Hela, and you will not really get good value with Storm. Now, of course, there are players that are going to be good with every single character in the game, and maybe this is their one character, but for the most part, I would say there's better options than Storm, because she doesn't have the abilities really to make the character like a must pick or just a really good option. Like, what does she do that's so much better than, let's say, Iron Man? Because Iron Man just outputs way more DPS than Storm, and it's kind of the similar playstyle. If you like a flyer character, I could just recommend Iron Man more. Next up, Jeff the Land Shark. This character, it's probably a lot of characters, a lot of people that want to play Jeff the Shark because he's like brand new. But as far as the character goes, if you're looking for a solo healer, Rocket Raccoon just does the job better. There's just, again, better options for these two characters. While the character does have an ultimate that, yeah, if you eat a bunch of people, then you have Doctor Strange make a teleport and you jump off the map, you can eliminate like a bunch of players. Realistically though, does this work at the higher ranks of the game? No. People are going to kind of expect this. The main problem that Jeff the Shark has is right now, Venom is an absolute S tier. Spoilers, Venom is an S tier character. The thing is that if Jeff the Shark gets jumped, he can't really do too much. He can go into like the ground, but you still can take damage, and in the higher ranks, they're still going to be able to hit you, even though you have like that smaller hitbox with just the fin. It's just still not good enough when you compare it to something like Rocket Raccoon, where you can actually get away, because Venom is a huge problem in the game for diving some of the support characters that do not have mobility. And since Venom is so meta right now, especially in ranked, Jeff the Land Shark unfortunately kind of loses out a lot of potential here. Where I think he would excel is, again, in the solo healer department, but when you're playing rank, most of the games are going to be 2-2-2, or if you're playing with just solo tank, which usually is going to be Venom, it's just too hard to make the character get really good value. Again, he's just super fragile in that aspect. He actually does okay-ish damage, but again, the main problems that I have with him is that there's just better options. So those are the two characters I feel like there are better options. Now, moving into the C tier. So these characters are still pretty decent. However, you have to be either really good with them, or it's maybe map dependent, or it's going to be team dependent. So your team has to have like a plan. If you want to go dive all of the healers, maybe that's an option. That's kind of like a plan, right? So there's actually, they're both in C tier. By the way, I know I put two categories. It's just so I didn't have to squish this list, because there's just too many heroes, on the list over here, because it's a big roster here. So over here, here's what we got. So a lot of these characters, if it's a very specific map, you can definitely make great use out of them, or if you're trying to counter something, this could be good. Like for example, Magic and Black Panther, a lot of times they can be turbo feeders, but if you happen to have like both of them, then you happen to also maybe have like a Hulk or a Venom, and if you combo these certain characters, they're really, really good, and they can really work well with each other, basically diving these supports, and they kind of have some self-sustain, which makes them kind of nice. So Spider-Man though, he's kind of feast or famine. The way I look at Spider-Man is it's a lot of little children that like to play him. You very rarely see a bad Spider-Man once you're pushing higher in the ranks. The way Spider-Man works is he goes in, eliminates a support, and then kind of dips out. He is really good, but you have to be good with the player or the character. Otherwise, again, it's like a 2-10, 3-10, and then you're like, dude, swap off Spider-Man, please. It's kind of like if you played Overwatch, you've ever seen someone play Genji and they suck at him. Yeah, that's a character where if you're really good with them, I think that it can definitely work. He's actually one of the most OP characters if you are good, if you want to make their support players cry, Spider-Man is definitely your go-to character, or like Venom. Venom is really good, but Spider-Man is kind of fragile compared to the other characters, but he has insane mobility. Going over some of the other things that I want to mention, like Scarlet, again, it's more of like a niche sort of a play style, and Scarlet can do one thing that's kind of nice, is using a little like orb that constantly like stuns. If you have something that is getting dove consistently, you can use that. It's not going to like eliminate the character immediately, but over the course of time, it can kind of help out your supports if you want to play more of a defensive playstyle. But there's kind of in the category of better options. Like I really like the idea of having just Punisher deal with some of the people that would just constantly dive the support, because when you swap to a shotgun, a good player with Punisher can absolutely melt stuff. But Scarlet Witch, if you do combo with, let's say, like Magneto is a really good character too, where you just give her the bubble and then she can pop off with her ultimate. Really good stuff indeed, but it just requires a little bit more resource. And again, C is where I consider it to require a little bit more teamwork than going in solo. As far as Adam is pretty decent at actually outputting DPS. He almost reminds me kind of like a Zenyatta because he has a charge up and attack, so he can actually output pretty decent damage, but the ultimate, it's kind of like a mercy revive, but doesn't revive them with full health. So a lot of times what I've noticed with this character, especially when you go in the higher ranks, if you want to get good value, you are relying on your entire team dying and then you getting out the ult and then them not being able to eliminate everyone that has really low HP. It's not what I consider the most ideal in terms of ultimate, in terms of consistency at higher ranks, but I mean, if it works and you get everyone revived and you have your double chain heals ready, which usually it's on recharge like a Brig heal, it just doesn't allow you to have that option to, again, instantly mercy res everyone's full HP and you win the fight, like that, like in Overwatch, which is good. I think it's more balanced in this sense. As far as Penny Park goes, you guys know I love playing Penny Parker because everyone loves watching when, even in the highest rank, even in top 500 lobbies, guys, no joke, you can actually get spawn kills with Penny Parker. I've done it. I'll end up making some like maybe compilation or something. Really good stuff indeed. Iron Man is just probably one of the best flyer characters. This character is so dang good because they actually nerfed Hela a little bit, but at the same time, again, in the higher ranks of the game, you really can't play Iron Man very well. If there's no one that deals with Iron Man, he's an absolute god tier character. If there's no one that actually shoots at him, he is so incredibly powerful because of the AoE that he deals. He's a really like good design character for, again, like little kids love Iron Man and Spider-Man. Those are like their two favorite things. And the little kid that plays Spider-Man is going to go like 2 and 50, while the player playing Iron Man, he might be able to actually do well. As far as Hulk goes, he's really good for diving, but he doesn't really deal that much damage. But if you're really good with Hulk, you can shut down someone else that is trying to help out a support, or just clap the other support via like freezing them with his, I think it's called like gamma like laser or whatever. He kind of like freezes them, and then you can just focus the other support, so one support is just getting absolutely destroyed. Starlord. Okay, let's talk about this character, because originally I put this as one of the best characters in the game. The game has definitely evolved, and when you're climbing the higher ranks, he's really difficult to play because you have to be super close to be able to get good value with him, and then there's a huge amount of risk where there's other characters that can just do the job better from range, like Hela is just so much better overall. All right, next up, moving into the B tier, actually. So in the B tier, I have two characters. I have Namor. Namor is actually so much better now with all the buffs. He can like move with his little thing. It just seems overall just really solid. I like him, but there's just in another category of like kind of better options, because Hela is just a better version of Namor, with the ultimate being much stronger, and on top of that, more consistency on the kills if you're landing those headshots. But Namor is still good. Being able to summon those turrets, it does help out your support in the back, because Venom, again, is a pretty big problem, especially in the higher ranks. That's why I'm running him. He absolutely just runs through supports. But as far as Thor goes, I really like Thor. I think Thor is pretty dang good, but not necessarily as a tank, even though he is, they call it Vanguard, but his tank is the same thing, right? So Thor, the thing that makes him really good is he has insane brawl potential. So what I like Thor with, if you run a team comp of, let's say, Venom, Thor, and then like you also run like Black Panther and Magic, you run this like huge dive the support comp, Thor just has like incredible survivability. He's so good for that because he just gains a bunch of shields and he's really tanky. He's a really good like bruiser if you like playing that kind of playstyle in like, you know, MOBA games. That is your character. I think he's a very solid pick, but he's not like a good solo tank. Good luck playing him solo tank. But he complements not only another tank well, but also just being able to play him as another DPS. So if you have like two good tanks, if you have like a Venom and whatever we're about to talk about in the A tier, he's really good as, instead of running another DPS, you play Thor, and the game just feels easy, I've noticed. Like, the character is not bad at all. He's obviously more short range, but he can charge up, but by the time you're charging up, if you're playing against a good player, Hela's gonna just land those headshots, and he's just gonna melt before he has the opportunity. So you need another initiator like Venom, which again, he's just so dang good right now. That's where I put the brand new character Thor. Now, next up, we got the A tier. So as far as the A tier goes, Mantis pretty good, can actually deal with someone that dives. That's a big thing again with supports, like that's why Luna Snow's in S tier. Spoilers. Is that you can deal with some of the divers a lot better. So Venom is just so good. I mean, being able to go in like this and kind of almost turbo feed in a sense, where you just make people use their abilities. We got rid of the Rocket Raccoon like respawn, and you just force people to use a bunch of stuff on you, and then you can kind of just get out with Venom for free because you have that giant shield. Venom is just so incredibly good, but Mantis can kind of stun, or it's called a sedation. It's the same thing though. It's like it's basically like a stun. You're not able to play. So if you get dove, you have that option. Now, Doctor Strange, pretty good overall character. He almost kind of reminds me of Reinhardt. He's always really solid. I'm always like, oh, awesome, we got a Doctor Strange. Love the character. Super high potential for being able to not only deal out pretty good damage, but block very specific key abilities. When Hela pops his ult, he can pop up a shield and go up and block everything. So he negates a lot of ultimates too. Really good stuff. And then also, Groot is pretty strong. Groot's always been one of the stronger characters in the game, especially because you have two like shields that you can like just block off, wall off. He's a really good character overall. He's honestly like, I felt like he was kind of boring to play, but once you get good with him and you use the walls to block other people's abilities, he becomes a lot more fun. Next up, also Loki, very, very powerful character. He also kind of deals with the dive a little bit because he can kind of move. He can throw on like the heal thing where like you have to destroy the little crystal, otherwise they just get healed. He's a pretty good character. He's very hard to play, but once you climb higher, he loses a little bit of value because players are good. But there's also this like kind of like really good game of cat and mouse where like sometimes you play as him and you pretend to be a clone and you sit perfectly still and people don't know it's you. So he has a lot of high potential. I kind of wanted to put him in S tier, but objectively there's just way better options here. Magneto is actually seeing so much play just because he's really, really good right now, because he's able to combo actually quite well with Scarlet Witch, because once he has that sword thing, oh, he's amazing. But being able to bubble certain characters when they are low, it's kind of like Zarya. He's just overall really solid character. He almost kind of reminds me like of Sigma. It's like Sig Zarya. Really cool stuff indeed. And he's always a really consistent hero that I like for damage. It's not like he's going to go like 0 and 50. Like he's pretty easy to land a lot of his stuff, which is great. You guys got to see me play Venom over there jumping down. All right, let's go into S tier right now for the best characters that you absolutely must learn if you want to take this game seriously. So obviously, I've been talking about Venom. That's the character that we actually pushed to top 500 or top 200 with. Back when we were in the previous alpha, I actually played a lot of Groot, but Venom is just like so much better. He's just so good for everything. Initiation, he can land headshots with his attack. His attack actually has a 15-meter range, which a lot of people don't know about. This character is just so good. If you want to be a solo tank, he's by far the best solo tank. You just dive the supports, and this character just wins games. He's so good. Can't speak any more positive things about this character. It's just like the best character if you want a solo tank. He's just so good. He has like the shield. If you like ball in Overwatch, this is your hero. Plus, he's one of the best characters. It is the only tank that I like to actually solo tank with. About to solo tank, this character is awesome. Punisher, it deals with flankers. He's got heavy damage. Really good character overall. Luna Snow, really good to have the ability to heal two people. You can do damage boost. There's actually a really cool combo with Venom and Snow where you can just basically absorb. You can eat people with Venom and just one-shot things. Really, really good. Rocket Raccoon is the best solo healer in the game, plus it has the armor, you have the revive, and it can add a lot of damage. His ult and Luna Snow's ult just build incredibly fast because these two characters can heal, output the numbers that you want for your support. Really two good characters. This is like the best duo in terms of support, in my personal opinion. Rocket Raccoon is just so good. Again, you get a free revive every once in a while, and you get the armor pack, plus you combo in with Punisher, and Punisher just goes crazy in damage. And then for the character that I actually put on like the best, I originally for the alpha, I actually should have put this character in like the Uber tier, because this character had incredible damage. But Hela is probably the best character in the game. If you want to solo carry games, the only character that I feel like can do it better than anything is probably Hela, because she does crazy headshot damage, and the ultimate is very good. If I was to say what is the best character in the game, if you're like, I don't care about a team, I want to solo win the games by myself, just pick Hela. So that's it, guys. That is the updated tier list from my POV as a top 500 player, also GM Overwatch player in every single role. But obviously, people may have different opinions, and I would love to know, did I miss out on anything? Let me know down below, but a lot of people want to know my tier list for the game and the current state with the brand new heroes. That's my tier list, but that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn the bell to see more tier lists and more Marvel Rivals gameplay. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.